Now, the second kind of comparison problem we're going to look at with multiplication is going to have a fraction in it. It's going to talk about a fraction of a number. So we're going to explore a couple of problems before you take a chance and try some. So this problem says there are 1/4 as many male passengers on a plane than female. If there are 12 female passengers, how many male passengers are there? So let's take a look at the two things we're comparing. We're comparing males and we're comparing female passengers. Now we know one number already. We know that there are 12, make a big comparison box here. We know there are 12 female passengers. Okay, we know that because it tells us right in the problem. Our goal is to figure out how many male passengers, and the information we have says there are 1/4 as many. Well, what we know about fractions is that fractions are a part of a whole. So we have to figure out, well, what is 1/4 of 12? All right, if we took 12 and split it up into 4 equal parts, how many would one of those parts be? So I'm going to, instead of drawing an entire whole fraction bar here, I'm going to split it up into 4 parts. And they're not going to be super even. They should be, but they're not because it's just my drawing. So I've got to figure out, okay, how many would be in 4 equal groups to get 12? Well, I can do that by taking 12 divided by 4. I'm going to break 12 up into 4 even groups. That's what division is. Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3. And if I go up to my boxes and I fill 3 into each of them, I see that I would add up to 12. So what is one of those groups? It would be 3. So 1/4 of 12 is 3, which means if I have 1/4 as many male passengers as female, I have 12 female. That means that I have 3 male passengers, and that's how I figure that out. I just have to work backwards. A lot of times when we see that fraction, we just have to divide the whole number by it. Let's take a look at another one. It says Mr. Marty played basketball for 16 hours last week. 1/8 of that was with Mrs. Johnstone. How many hours of basketball did Mr. Marty and Mrs. Johnstone play together? Okay, so we're comparing two different things. We're comparing basketball, and we're going to put without Johnstone. I'm going to put without, and I'm going to put basketball with Johnstone. All right. Well, we know that his total time he played last week was 16 hours. All right. So he had 16 hours he played. All right. 1/8 of that was with Mrs. Johnstone. So if we make some comparison bars, we have this big chunk of basketball time, 16 hours. We know that we need to split that up into 8 different little parts. We have to take 1/8 of 16. Now remember, how do we do that? Well, we have to break 16 up into 8 even parts. So I can just do 16 divided by 8. Well, 16 divided by 8 is 2. So how many hours did Mr. Marty and Mrs. Johnstone play basketball together? Well, that was 2 of his 16 hours he played. So it would be 2 hours. Okay, so now you're going to go back and work on a couple of problems that have those fractions in there. All right, then you'll come back to the next section.